Violent threats against schools have become all too common, and the pressure to find a safe solution has forced school districts to look for new strategies to keep threats and actual violence at bay.
Tonight, On Your Side's Taylor Levesque brings us an exclusive look at what one local district is doing to fight school violence in real time.
Florida schools are required to have at least one armed officer on every campus, and the app Fortify Florida is used statewide to report suspicious activity. But schools and law enforcement are also turning to more enhanced technology to improve response to real threats and speed their clearance of fake ones. St. Johns County is using technology not seen anywhere else on the First Coast and calls it a powerful way to keep schools safe. From the moment an alert is received, the system is in motion.
The ARC Center reference to a panic school threat.
Inside the St. Johns County 911 call center.
And where was the activation?
Dispatchers direct resources.
All units respond 2101 ARC Drive.
The school's assigned deputy receives a cell phone alert and responds. Additional deputies arrive to help, and analysts inside the Real-Time Intelligence Center begin investigating.
All Foxtrot units respond to the area of 2101 ARC Drive.
The room that we're sitting in here and the people that man this room too. It's all a collective work behind the scenes to keep all 50,000 students safe in our county.
The purpose of Arctic is to expedite the preservation of life and property. We're basically a force multiplier.
Sergeant Samantha James says only a small group of intelligence analysts have access to the cameras inside St. Johns County Public Schools in real time.
We immediately pull up the school cameras and start looking to see if something is actually occurring.
The system, called Centegix, includes a crisis alert system, allowing school staff to alert law enforcement at the push of a button. Whether it's a medical emergency or threat of harm, the alert shows dispatchers a red dot, which is the exact location of the reporting staffer.
We can direct deputies to a threat instead of them having to search an entire building not knowing where the bad guy is.
St. Johns County Sheriff Robert Hardwick says the immediacy of the system is what makes it unique.
It's real-time data, real-time intelligence fed from this center, this building, to our deputy sheriffs that are responding, which is going to go ahead and actually set up for a better response and hopefully save some lives.
And in several St. Johns County public schools, the sheriff's office can do more than just observe what's happening inside a school.
We can use access control to lock a bad guy in an area.
And the goal is with the locking and unlocking of doors is to steer the active shooter towards the responding deputy sheriff so we can kill him.
Hardwick calls the technology powerful.
Give us that edge on the battlefield per se. You watch these tactics, the way they clear hallways, where they peek around corners, it's similar tactics that we use, that the United States military uses to fight the enemy.
The need for the technology, however, is not something to celebrate.
Again, I never thought I'd sit here, in 31 years in law enforcement and say we're getting better at active shooters in a school where 9-year-old girls and a little boy were shot and killed by a coward.
The sheriff's office says it receives several tips about school threats each week through social media, phone calls, the Fortify Florida reporting app, or just overheard conversations on school campuses. Youth Services Unit Lieutenant Wes Kennedy says they investigate all tips regardless of credibility.
The biggest priority for our deputies inside of our schools is maintaining the safety and security of not only our students but the faculty.
Making written or online threats to kill, do harm, or conduct a mass shooting is a second-degree felony. So far, of more than 100 threats investigated against its schools this year, the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office says only 3 were credible. Deputies arrested 3 people this school year. Kennedy says the majority of threats are misunderstandings.
Even if the threat's not credible, what can we do to help that child to understand what problems they could be going through in life?
Hardwick says the Sheriff's Office and school district are committed to keeping violence out of schools.
We hope it never happens in our backyard, but we continue to watch this in America, and it's happening everywhere. It doesn't discriminate. So to get better as a community, as law enforcement entities, and not be afraid to say no to any technology or any techniques or tactics that we can use to combat the enemy.
And I also checked with Duval, Clay, Putnam, and Nassau counties to see how those counties are handling violence in schools. Log on to our website, firstcoastnews.com. In the studio, Taylor Levesque, First Coast News, on your side.